usual, we are on time for our class. Hello, my dear students. We are on time. We are very punctual, you know. As usual, we decided we'll be here on channel at 6 p.m. Today's topic is what? CR, right? Let's welcome the students. Daisy, Manoj, you are chatting about CLAT. Okay. Can you suggest one source of IR? Daisy, what are you asking for? Is it international relations you're talking about, or you have written this as LR, logical reasoning? Ram Sevak, good evening. Krishna, good evening. Okay. As you all know, students, logical reasoning, I guess so. Daisy, once it's source for LR, we'll take up the questions. Let everyone join in the class. Khushi, I am fine. Thank you for asking. Bhushan, good evening. Okay, Nitikan. Anjali, good evening. Ram Sevak, ma'am, I'm Ronak Meena. Okay. Good evening, Kashish. Harsh, good evening. Mausam, good evening. Manoj, hello. Sachi, good evening. Prashant, good evening. Kritika, good evening. Sachi, how are you? I am fine. How are you, Sachi? How's your prep going on? Sneha, hello, ma'am. Hello, Sneha. Shivali, Manoj, Chetan, good evening to all of you. And what is this Brunithu Nakshatra? Oh, good evening. Nurag, Yogesh, Vatsala, Daisy, Mamta, Karthik, Ram Sevak. I am very well. Crack CLAT in 45 days, Manu. Of course it is possible. You think it and it will happen. It's all possible. It's all in the mind. Yogesh and Jeevan, good evening. Jeevan, good evening. How are you all? How's your preparation going on? Manoj Chaube, what is LR? What? Now that's an odd question to ask. Manoj, Lochan, hello, Ram Sevak. Please, ma'am, I'm wrong. Oh, got it. I got that part. Sonakshi, good evening. Good evening. Lochan, good evening. Bhushan, ma'am, my logical reasoning very weak. How to improve? We'll do it. We'll right now discuss all your problems. And with your good evenings, how about you write down your problems as well? Let's take up your problems. When we are here, let's discuss your problems, right? Mausam, ma'am, start kijiye. As you say, Mausam. Daisy, it's going quite well. Good. Kabir, hello, Kabir. How are you? Okay, let's start with this Vijaypath. See, it's such a good thing. Revision is so important. Right, ma'am, what topic are essential for ELIT? We'll do it, Ria, just now. Please don't start with the questions because then we'll miss it. Yogesh, of course, we'll discuss inference. Of course, I'm here for all the concepts today. LR bahut weak hai, meri khushi. Doing it, just doing it in a few minutes, right? I do silly mistakes. I'll take all the doubts. Maybe you'll have to repeat your problems, right? It's like, it's going very fast with your problems. Daisy, I'm Hindi medium students. How to improve my English for CLAT 2026. We'll discuss that. Guys, how are you from Law Prep Chapel? Welcome. Mamta, weakening specially. We'll discuss all the problems. As I was saying, see, revision is very important. And the next important part is timely revision. See, whatever you do, it is very important. It should be here. Everything is on the paper, it's fine. Par kya kare uska, right? Those who are English medium students, please do not worry if I speak anything in Hindi. Okay, I'll translate verbatim everything for you in English. Don't you worry. Okay, awesome, Ram Sevak. Let's start with the problems, and I know the problems, of course. I know what you are weak in, inference, reasoning. We'll do all the things. Kritika, silly mistakes, of course, I know. Yogesh, let's start, right? So I was talking about revision. See, this is a revision series. It's good for us that we are revising things in a way that it has to go in your mind, right? Whatever you do, do not stick with the papers. Everything should be in your mind, right? That's the key, of course. On 1st of December, कोई पन्ना थोड़ी साथ लेके जाओगे. It's all in the mind, right? As I was talking about this Vijaypath series, see, success. Who doesn't like success, right? Who doesn't like success? Everybody is a fan of success, but for that, we need to ace some subjects. We have to We have to make sure that we are good in all the subjects. And let me remind you before I start with the revision, it's not one subject that you have to ace, right? It's all about, you know, CR, RC, legal, GK, and quant, QT together, right? It's all together. So if we are doing today CR, make sure that you revise other subjects as well, right? Today is designated for CR revision. Let's do that. Vatsila ma'am, I'm preparing for CLAT. Can I go? Of course, you should go for as many exams as you can, right? Jaswant, how to strengthen basics? We're doing it just now. Manoj, of course, we are back to business. Let's start the critical problems with critical reasoning. I don't know. Like, of course, you will think I'm exaggerating and, my assumption, but it is really all about thinking. Whatever is written in the article has to directly go into your mind and you have to decode what they are saying, right? That's your first thing that should come into your mind whenever you see an article, right? You are not a judge. You are not anyone who is critical of that thing. Your only part is to do it, right? Is to, read it, understand it in such a way that you are able to get the marks, right? Mukesh is saying, ma'am, मेरे marks negative marking है, silly mistakes में ज़्यादा कट जाता है. I know. Good evening. Let's start with the common mistakes of a common aspirant, right? There's no mistake that a common man is doing. Here the aspirants are commonly doing some mistakes which are what? First, silly. And silly mistakes such as what I am hearing. You miss the passage. Isn't it strange that you miss the passage? Vatsila, but the English section seems quite tough in ELIT as compared to CLAT. You prepare for the exam, you will get better in everything. Hamza is saying emotional detachment sometimes becomes too difficult, ma'am. Why do you need emotional detachment? Okay, we'll discuss these problems as well. But from what you have written in your problems, the first is silly mistakes. It's like, it's in abundance, right? You're making silly mistakes, and let me tell you what is your silly mistake. You are missing the point itself. Like, why the article प्रैक्टिस कीजिए जीवन में बहुत समस्या है और समस्या तो है but समाधान भी है, right? We are focusing on the solutions, ma'am. While rechecking it seems so simple but gets complicated by solving. Of course, the trick is to do it in that 2 hours. Baki to I can solve all the questions. The trick is to do it within the class, right? Like, Bhushan, I don't know about this problem. Okay, I am very sorry, I don't know about this problem, this thing. Okay, so what we are discussing is silly mistakes. See, silly means you did not read well. So the solution, obvious solution is what? Please use yellow or okay. Is it now better? Kritika, is it better now? Yellow pen? I think that's better. Silly mistakes is what you people are doing, and the only solution I can give you at this particular point, you know me all. You know me, I don't give you fancy ideas. The thing is to read well. Reading is the only thing that you can do better. See, for how can I say stay focused on passage consistent? I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you. See, you have to read well. How? First things first. Read. First is read, right? Circle, right? And add. Let's take an example. I hope you are giving your mocks daily, and we will be on the same page if I discuss an article about air pollution. Okay? Which LPT center do you teach? Yogesh, I'm from Jodhpur Center. Atushi, yes ma'am. Manisha, ma'am. So preparation abhi se start karu. Mansi, focus on the class right now, and we shall be able to discuss these things later. First, you get hold of the subject, right? What's the time limit to complete CR? Hamza, it's always 30 minutes. Lesser than that, it's brilliant. If not, you're wasting your time, right? Read, circle, add. So getting back to the point, we are discussing suppose an article about air pollution, okay? Now, author will give some example of tragic events related to air pollution. Second, paragraph can be about the ill effects of air pollution, you know, how the human body is getting affected because of air pollution and the environment as well. Okay, Third, the author wants to discuss a number of government schemes that are being discussed by the government, that are being launched by the government for what, reducing this air pollution. Okay, and finally the author gives a conclusion that mass transit is the only solution for uh, solving this air pollution problem. You have number of elements in the passage, add them all. Once you circle that number of things are given, add them all to make your main idea, right? Before we proceed, Rajesh is saying, ma'am consistently scores 17 या 18 hota hai. It's fine, it's good. It's a good score. Rachita, hello, Mausam, you are talking something else. Focus on the class, right? Here we are not discussing the surnames and all. I am reading your comments, right? Focus here. We have to be able to understand the passage. For that you need to read, circle, and you have to pick the main idea as the author is trying to communicate. Do not add your things, right? Suppose you read about air pollution and you start thinking, oh, my city is also so polluted. That's not what is needed. Whatever the author is trying to tell you, focus on that only. From wherever the article starts, you do that, right? You take it as it is, and then you move on to what? The direct, what is the passage communicating to you, and move on to the questions, right? This is your first mistake. Second mistake, not reading the question. Not reading question correctly. I have heard this so many times. Ideal score and CR of LPT mocks, it has to be between 18 to 22, right? So if you are not reading the question well, such as I have heard students saying that they do not read disagree, not correct, not inferred, cannot be inferred. These are silly mistakes again, right? This is your problem, that you're not reading the question well. And before, these are not the mistakes that we are going to discuss, right? We are not going to discuss this because you know these mistakes. Third is not reading options beyond A. Have you heard this problem of option A? Yogesh ma'am need a CR marathon and LPT Kanpur. Why not? Sure. Preetal ma'am give us brief example of read, circle and add in media. We'll do it. Preetal, we'll open a article and we'll do it. I am simply discussing the problem so that you get in a hang of what we are going to discuss, right? English sometimes get to 11, 20 marks. Focus on English then, Tushar. Whatever is not working for you, that section, that subject needs your attention, right? So, where were we? Not reading the options well. This is my favorite problem of yours. Like, you do not read beyond option A. And my question is why? If the option is given very, very correctly, but why don't you check if it's an answer to the question or not? You tell me. Ma'am can make a daily reading editorial and making summary. You don't have time, Aditya. You don't have time anymore if you're giving exam on 1st of December. You can simply read the editorials and keep it in your mind. There is no more time to make summaries and put it on papers. If the case is that you're very poor in comprehension, you can go for that. But other than that, why waste your time, right? Solve questions. Okay, so this option A syndrome, why don't you people go beyond A option? And the person who is setting the paper, they must have gotten hold of this कि ये तो option A लेकर mark कर देते हैं. मैम per day CR के कितने question करने चाहिए? Do 30 questions in 30 minutes, right? Try solving that, तभी तो paper में कर पाओगे. Next, this option A. So you don't read beyond that. And why? Why don't you read it? And this is all we are talking about. I suddenly decided to give CLAT exam. Yes, everything is fine. And what's the name? Frustrated kid. Don't manifest such things, right? Don't manifest. ये सोचो ही मत. If you're preparing from 1st of October, it's fine. Give your best shot. Then we'll discuss the results, right? So these are the mistakes that you commit while solving questions. घर पे क्या करते हो, प्रेपरेशन के टाइम क्या करते हो, वो तो पता ही है, वो तो हमको पता ही है that you are not giving your 100%. Am I right or am I right? Right? अगर आप सही से कर रहे हो तो आप मॉक में भी सही से करोगे, लाइक मॉक भी आपका सही जाएगा. एंड इवेंचुअली मॉक क्या है? एग्जाम का रिहर्सल है, राइट? यू आर गिविंग अ रिहर्सल फॉर दैट एग्जाम. Focus on passage while reading it. Anjali, this is such an often repeated problem of many students. Focus. ये क्यों गुम हो जाता है? लाइक व्हाट आर यू फोकस्ड ऑन देन? अगर आपका फोकस नहीं है इसका मतलब आप डिस्ट्रैक्टेड हो, और कहाँ डिस्ट्रैक्टेड हो ये मुझे लिख के बता दो. दोज हु आर लिसनिंग, आप कहाँ फोकस्ड नहीं हो, मतलब आपका कहाँ डिस्ट्रैक्शन का पॉइंट है, अभी बता दो. Either you're focused on your results or on, I don't know what. I don't even know what your students are thinking while solving a mock. In two options. Sunshine, we'll discuss this two options part right now. Please. Phone. Harmanjot, who is keeping a phone while solving questions? Tushar is also saying mobile. Hamza, at home my efficiency is way too good, but center it goes a little down. That's a paradox. But why would you be doing this better at home or yahan acha nahi kar rahe? There's no logic to it. You tell me you have only like what, 41 days. You minus the days where you'll not be feeling good. You have like around what, 40 days. All the options, I can solve those questions. You have ample of time. Bhushan, you always have ample of time. You are only distracted. Daisy saying social media. Are kyun bhai? You have a very big dream. Very big dream. Many more focus gets hindered. Atushi, it's not the reason. आप एक लाइन में पढ़ो, आर्टिकल इज ऑलवेज कोहेरेंट. मतलब ऐसा नहीं होगा कि कोई बात लिखते लिखते ऑथर कहीं और चला जाएगा. ऑथर इतना डिस्ट्रैक्टेड नहीं है. मनोज, मैम पैसेज रीड करते टाइम स्ट्रेस से, कौन सा स्ट्रेस है मनोज, वो तो बताओ. किस चीज का स्ट्रेस है? परफॉर्मेंस का प्रेशर है? नो डिस्ट्रैक्शन. ओह ममता, वेरी गुड, नो डिस्ट्रैक्शन. पैसेज अंडरस्टैंडिंग प्रॉब्लम हो सकता है, राइट? Divya, please talking. I'll try, Divya, right? I'll try in Hindi, and for those who are only from English medium, I'll translate, right? I get lost in my own thoughts. This is a problem, Komal. Sleep. ये तो अच्छी बातें ही नहीं है. ये तो अच्छी बात ही नहीं है. Sleep, phone, Insta. Why? Brain gets tired after some time. How? You are giving so many marks. क्योंकि fully time नहीं होता तो complete नहीं हो पाते. Stress, मैम यार आते आते थक जाते हैं. थकना कैसे होता है? Bam, backlog. See, I'll reframe my question. I did not ask you what's wrong in your day. I asked you all what goes wrong in the mock. When you are given 2 hours, 120 minutes for 120 questions, that is your only goal. You tell me, where do you get distracted during that time? Passage you could not understand is one part, but that should not lead to what? Distraction, right? Then your answer should be what? Elliot, it's fine, Dushar, it's fine, but you can do better, right? The score is good, but you can do better. Stress during mock, Yogesh, you are actually practicing for your exam, and if you're so stressed here, how will you do that there, right? उस तरीके से भी कर लो. First or English. Hamza, try doing English first, then go for CR, right? ये half of the passage, that's fine, Riya. लेकिन practice आप इसी की तो कर रहे हो. आप practice इसी की ही कर रहे हो कि आपको passages समझ में आए. This is a concept session and we are moving towards the concept, but we are taking a framework of what your mistakes are, and then we can easily go back to the concepts, right? Okay, so where were we? Focus. And as you are seeming me to be distracted in your content, comments as well, let's do this, right? Let's start with the passage and let's check your focus right now. Okay, I'll leave the screen, you read the article, and then you tell me, could you focus on this or not? Okay, and in few words you will tell me what did you read. Then we'll start with concepts. Okay, we'll start with the concepts and then we'll move on to questions for sure. Okay, Vansh, overthinking, let's read this article, focus over here and tell me, did you understand this or not? I'm giving you 2 or 3 minutes time to complete this. Okay, let's do this. Done reading the article, and I can still see some of you distracted. Kritika, Anjali, Manoj, Sham, we were still discussing about mocks. You should have focused on the passage, right? So before we start with the questions based on this passage, let me explain to you the concepts. Okay, now we'll focus on the concepts because this is a crucial part of our revision. If you're not familiar with the concepts, you will be doing it right now. But for that, you need to concentrate on what I am saying. Okay, if you find that you want that in Hindi, you will comment only at that time, right? Or if you feel you're not able to understand something, tell me so that I'll explain elaborately. Let's start. Ria, good if you have got that part correct. Let's revise. Let's revise the concepts first, starting with the central theme, main idea, and main argument. You'll focus now. Okay, let's start. So whenever a passage is given to you, there is a topic on which that article is based. It's not, I'm not talking about that sci-tech or economy or not. That's not the theme. That's the subject that they are going to deal with in the article, right? Theme is what? When they are trying to tell you something about the article, right? But in broader terms, you will get your theme, right? Suppose someone is writing a sports article, so they are going to write about Indian cricket team or football team, something like that, or their recent success. Then that will get what? A little broader than the name itself, like sports. That's too vague. Central theme will cover everything that the article will be about, right? Main idea is what is the author trying to convey to us using that article. See, when someone starts writing an article, they have their own ideas about certain things, right? They specifically want the audience to know some things. And when they want to the readers to know something, they will write an article in such a way that they will want to prove their point. Am I clear? See, you are writing an article. Suppose imagine you are the writer and you are writing an article in such a way, ऐसे लिख रहे हो कि आपकी audience convince हो जाए कि आप ही की बात सही है. That is main idea. Okay, that will be discussed throughout the article. नहीं तो आप distracted हो, right? When a writer is focused, तो क्या होगा? सब उसी बारे में लिखा होगा, उसी से रिलेटेड लिखा होगा, राइट? अब व्हेन यू हैव गॉटन होल्ड ऑन द मेन आइडिया, you will find the main argument of the author in the article, right? ऐसा नहीं होता कि everything is opinionated. Some things are written for background information, right? कुछ चीजें लिखी होती है for information purposes. Some evidences are given by the author to make sure कि भाई उसने जो बात कही है वो रीडर को समझ में आ जाए, right? उसके बाद में आता है ऑथर का कंक्लूजन, लाइक आर्टिकल खत्म कहाँ हो रहा है, दैट इज योर कंक्लूजन, राइट? इतना ही होता है एक आर्टिकल में. Was that easy or not? Theme, idea, argument, right? And if you want to use the technical words for argument, argument comprises of premises and conclusion. कई बार क्या होता है ना, the article is not written in such a way कि भाई explicitly लिख दिया जाए that what the author is thinking or what they want to convey, right? Sometimes they do it what? They'll write some premises, like we were discussing air pollution. They'll do it what? They want to make some evidences, some claims कि these many people are dying, or 83 cities out of 100 in India are on extreme levels of air pollution. तो आपको बात convincing लगेगी कि हाँ, air pollution तो इंडिया में ज्यादा है, right? That's premise. और फाइनली ऐसा हो सकता है कि जो ऑथर है, दे वांट टू गिव सम कंक्लूजन, राइट? दे वांट टू गिव सम कंक्लूजन कि भाई अब इसका करना क्या, राइट? दैट इज योर कंक्लूजन पार्ट, राइट? आर्टिकल में इफ यू कैन सेपरेट आउट व्हाट इज फैक्ट, व्हाट इज ओपिनियन, राइट? क्लेम्स आर व्हाट? ओपिनियंस. तो आपका काम हो जाएगा, राइट? एंड फॉर दैट आपको आर्टिकल्स पढ़ने होते हैं, ऑब्वियसली. My assumption is what? That you are reading articles from these many days, और कम से कम 2 तो होने ही चाहिए, right? Manoj, are you getting? Pranjal, Shama, Manoj, I hope I'm clear in that, right? अगर आप एक आर्टिकल पढ़ने की आदत रखते हो, आपको पता होगा how to find an argument in the passage. Yogesh, see, this is a good question. How to find an argument in the passage? Some points are highlighted in the passage in such a way that they are elaborately discussed. वहां मिलेगा आर्ग्यूमेंट आपको, राइट? वहां आपको ऑथर का मेन एम्फेसिस मिलेगा, राइट? समटाइम्स आर्टिकल्स में आई और वी बिलीव करके लिखा होता है, यू नो, there is an explicit comment or argument given. It's basically an opinion. Sometimes you get that, sometimes you don't get that. In that case, you do what? You take the lines from the passage and you infer the main argument as well. But we can't find, you can find it, you always find the argument, but you are still not clear, or you're not confident, right? You're not confident that you have found the article so easy. Preetal, ma'am, show us how to distinguish between claims and facts and opinions. See, Preetal, it's very easy. See, claims are what I believe in, and I want my writer, the audience or the readers to believe me. That's my claim, and I would like to prove it. Fact is what? Sun rises from the east, right? Sun rises from the east. It's a fact. Who can negate that fact? No one can do that, right? That's a fact. Opinions. Opinions are like, you all are good students. You all are intelligent students. That is my opinion of you all, right? So in an article, you won't find random lines. There is always a coherence in the lines where the author wants to discuss, where author wants you to know that this is what he is trying to convey to you. And then you will find number of lines related to that one argument. Anjali, Hamza, of course, Hamza, I'll tell you assumption as well. But for that, see, this is all theoretical part. You will have to read the articles to actually find out, do you find the argument or not? And the best part of CRC, let's put all things in one bracket. You have to simply decode what the passage is saying. How about that? Do not put the labels on the things. Thread that binds all passages. Of course, Purvi, that's a theoretical definition, good one. But let's do it like this. Whenever you find an article, decode what this article is trying to tell you. Fine? Save score. We'll get on that as well, right? Scores and all. But before that, let's discuss. Are you getting my point? If you are not able to put brackets, समझ नहीं आता है क्योंकि reading speed, everything takes over the mind. This is what I'm saying, Namisha. When you are trying to do the passage, you of course can't be putting कि this is main idea, this is premise, this is conclusion. Don't do that. I'll do that, Yogesh. I'll do that, right? I'll do that in a minute. Right? आप उसमें से क्या करो? You decode the passage in a way कि आपको उसमें से important point पता चल जाए. Right? The main point. If you have seen the past year papers as well, they're asking you central theme, central idea, main point. That means what this article is trying to convey to you. Right? That should be clear in your mind. Such as this. See, in this article, the passage is talking about stress. Right? And let's read the line by line. Right? Stress can be defined as a physical and mental responses to some external event. It's all about external event, right? To some external event. Okay. छोटे आते हैं क्या अनुष्का? It depends. It depends. They've asked 600 words passage as well. That's fine. And now they have gone to 40 words as well. That's fine. You should be able to read anything and everything. Number of words should not matter to you. The event might be considered good, like preparing to go to the prom. That's a good line coming from the author. Or bad, like feeling tense after an illness, an argument with a friend, or while preparing for an upcoming test. Right? Getting my point? They are talking about stress, which can be good, which can be bad. The author has written about both the times. Ma'am, but itna time nahi rehta hai. Daisy, that's why I told you to decode it. That's it. That's why I told you to remove these inhibitions from your mind. What's idea? What's theme? Just simply take whatever the article is trying to convey to you in such a way that it fits in your mind. Okay? The good thing about most stress is that it usually goes away once the external event causing the stress is over. Are we clear on this point? Author has nowhere written an extreme statement. They are talking about most stress. Means some can remain for some people, right? मुझे logical बहुत confusion है. Let's do this, Anjali. Here is your chance to practice it with me. Okay? Alternatively, there is a type of stress that results from more an internal dialogue than an external event. We call this anxiety. So this article is about stress and anxiety together. Okay. It involves persistent feelings of dread or apprehension that interfere with your daily life. Even, now this is important, even after the test, argument, from or just a distant memory. That's something that goes on in your mind is what? Anxiety. Right? So stress is called both good and bad, and anxiety is simply a definition is given and can remain even after the event is over. Okay. Now see how the articles are written. They were talking about stress and anxiety, and now suddenly a double. See, A quote is given over here, and we have the person as well. Says Sakshi Khurana, research fellow at Harvard's Wyss Lab for Youth Mental Health. That means the author is trying to convey the same thing, but is using the words of someone else. This gives a credibility to your argument, to your opinion, right? When you use someone else's opinion, someone else's good lines, when they have proper things coming from research or something like that, here is your idea for that. Like, you take it from someone else's word and you convey your own thing. That is what the writer is doing over here. Other larger issues that the world is going through, for example, climate change or war. See, last paragraph passage, because many teachers said it will always be useful. Shama, let me get back to you in a minute. Let me complete this. My focus is unwavering, right? Let me complete the article. Might also act as stressors for teens as they are learning about the world. Now, from this last line, did you get that the article is talking about what? Teens, because they're talking about prom and about what? Which means that quote is important. Of course, Namisha, that quote is important because they're adding another element to the opinion. Prom and test, argument with a friend, they're talking about teen, and now they are wanting to discuss what? A broader issue, something bigger stress than this prom and a bad test. Do you get this part? Climate change and war. Did you understand that they have gone from some basic stressors to very big ones? This is how an article is written for you. Can we say that quote acts as premise? Of course, right? Now you are getting that author is trying to tell you that teens have number of stressors, and some teens can have larger issues as well. It's not talking about all. Here is little more stress, right? Some internal dialogue, even after the test, and some external event. They are not talking about extreme things. Are we clear? This is how an article is written, right? And even if you can't point out what's the theme, idea, argument, that's fine. Simply decode it. Understand it intuitively, right? जो आपको समझ में आ गया है, that will help you to answer the question if you are very confident कि ठीक है, जितना समझ में आया, good for me, right? Ma'am, the way you highlighted the points we can do when you're in actual exam. Yes, it is possible. Preetal, mocks are rehearsal for 1st of December. Of course, you can practice such things. एक बार करके देखो, नहीं होता, वापस करके देखो. You are giving mocks from so many days. ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता कि ये हो नहीं रहा. There is no such thing. We can't do. Preetal, try this. Try tomorrow itself. You try doing this. And I don't think so कि ये impossible है. Simply pick the important points because this will help me to remember the passage as well. Right? Ma'am, yes, of course, Niti, you can do it. आप पैसेज को इसी तरीके से पढ़ो कि यू कैन रिमेंबर इट इन अ वे कि इतना पता हो कि लिखा कहाँ. दैट विल ऑल्सो हेल्प यू. और फॉर बेटर अंडरस्टैंडिंग आप ये भी कह सकते हैं कि इज इट रिटन और नॉट रिटन इन द पैसेज. ओके, सो वेवर वी इन द कॉन्सेप्ट्स situation, we discuss theme, idea and argument. Let's move on to assumption, inference, conclusion. We have so many topics to do. Yes, Yogesh, you are allowed to use pen to underline. Okay, so getting to the main important part, that's the tricky part that you all are facing. Argument को strengthen or weaken करना. What is strengthening? Priyam, good evening. You are late. Let's get into the situation again without doing a tick to the option. Can mark it. Of course, you can do whatever you feel like, whatever gives you confidence. It's your exam. You can do anything, whatever gives you confidence. Do that, repeat that, so that you remember to do it on 1st of December, right? Okay. So we were discussing strengthening and weakening, and now I need your focus. See, when author has written an argument, right? Author has written an argument. You strengthen it by providing some additional support to the argument. I know you have read the question, support the argument and strengthen the argument, both, right? Now, support is whatever, sometimes the question is framed as, which of the following supports the conclusion or the argument. People have different opinions. Devinder, let's get to that. When you're doing support or strengthen question, that means you are trying to prove the validity of author's argument, or you are trying to convey that whatever the author is saying, it is right? Then only you can strengthen someone's argument, right? And in both the cases, you may find the article has the answer. I'm repeating it again, strengthening and supporting. You may find the article giving you answers. Sometimes authors give the evidence to support their own argument. And when the question is framed, those same lines are repeated in the question itself, and then you can choose the answer directly from the passage. There is no problem in that. If you have an option which is firstly related exactly to the passage, that is your first choice. If not, you will use external information. Are we clear in that part? Like, you support or you strengthen author's argument, you give them strength. Strengthen is what? You give strength to author's argument by proving that they are right, right? So your option should do the same thing. Are we clear? That is strengthening. And I know strengthening is easy for many of you. Let's discuss the difficult part, weakening. See, you must have read in your papers, weakening, ma'am, weakening wale questions mein how to, I'll tell you, Namisha, I'll just tell you. Weakening means you are trying to find a loophole in author's argument. Author की बात में गलती, we'll discuss flaw as well. Weakening is you want to shake the foundation of author's argument. Weakening all seem, we'll do it, Priya, we'll do it that also, to say in favor of, yeah, Priyam, that's strengthening. We are discussing weakening. So weakening means you want to shake the foundation of author's argument, right? Purvi, I'll get back to that as well. So weakening is you want to shake the foundation of author's argument by exactly doing what? Finding a mistake in author's argument, or better build a new argument with new facts. How was that? Weakening means you can use external information. That's right, Ramsay, that's a good summary. Weakening means you find a new fact, a new claim to weaken author's position or to shake the validity of author's opinion. That is weakening the author's argument. And for that purpose, for fixing your weakening question, we solve the flaw part of the passage. Flaws are what? A logical mistake that the author has made in the passage. You pick that, you convert that mistake into an argument, and you can have your weakening argument. Sometimes author writes in such a way that thing will be, it's impossible for everyone. You can find one exception. That is where your if true comes in, right? Weaker argument is created doubt. Ramsay, you did not get that meaning. If true means you don't have to judge the validity of the option. It's already true. It's like it's in the question. If it's true, use the option. If it can weaken, Yogesh will do it in a minute, inference as well. Weakening means you take an option, you take something external as well, and you weaken author's position. That is weakening the argument. Okay, and as you are writing your doubts that it is option is never mentioned, I choose that since it says true. Yes, that's correct. Never mentioned. I did not get your comment, Purvi. If you can rephrase it. Ramsevik, that's a good summary. Ramsevik, weaker. Again, I did not get your question. Yogesh, inference will do it. Anjali, ma'am, what is flaw? I'll do it, Pranjali, in a minute. Anjali, ma'am, sometimes questions are good but answers confusion. Pata nahi chalta kya options sahi hain. For that only I'm telling you, Anjali, read the options in a way that you understand word by word, and that can only happen when you are reading it very thoroughly. Anjali, it's a practice. It's nothing that is happening magically to anyone. You simply read the options. You're doing so many marks. It's hardly difficult to understand that karte karte ho jayega. Like practice makes a man perfect, right? You practice it and then you'll understand. And Pranjal, what is flaw? Coming to Pranjal's question, what is flaw? Let me discuss the flaw one, and then you will, for OMR filling. No, Brijendra, no, you must have given these many marks up till now. Okay, flaw. Ram said 2 options confused, ma'am. Correct. We are coming on that. Weaken but comes when I'm coming on that as well, Davinder. When you have 2 options and both are weakening or strengthening, what to do in that case? I'm coming in a minute. Let me just tackle flaw first. See, flaw means there is an inherent error in authors. Kritika, just hold on your thoughts, people, and I'll come back to you. Otherwise, you miss ho jayenge some. Flaw is what? Author ke argument mein there is a logical एरर, मतलब कोई ओपिनियन है ऑथर का, उसी में गलती है, दैट इज फ्लॉ, राइट, दैट इज फ्लॉ। कोई लॉजिकल मिस्टेक है, सपोज, चलो एक एग्जांपल करते हैं, सपोज ऑथर ट्राइज टू टेल मी कि 5 बच्चों ने टेस्ट दिया, टेस्ट बहुत अच्छा था, ठीक है, सैंपल साइज क्या है, 5, एंड इफ यू एक्स्ट्रापोलेटेड टू टेल मी कि सबने अच्छा कहा, दैट्स अ फ्लॉ, ठीक है। या फिर सपोज you don't talk to a person एक बार and they call you rude and arrogant, that's hasty generalization का flaw। मतलब आप जल्दी से आर्टिकल के अंदर कोई फ्लॉ अगर ढूंढ लेते हो कि भाई इसने ये पॉइंट मिस कर दिया, या एग्जैजरेट कर दिया, या एक्सप्लेन नहीं किया, या एविडेंस नहीं दिया, दैट इज ऑल फ्लॉ का पार्ट, ठीक है। मतलब ऑथर के आर्ग्यूमेंट में ही कोई गलती होगी और उसको ढूंढना होता है फ्लॉ का क्वेश्चन, ठीक है। अब उसी फ्लॉ को यूज करके या फिर एक्सटर्नल इंफॉर्मेशन, एक्स्ट्रा इंफॉर्मेशन यूज करके हम ऑथर की बात को, लॉजिकल फैलेसीज दे आर सेम प्रिया, दे आर सेम, ओके, ये दोनों ही वीकनिंग में वर्क करते हैं। जब आपने फ्लॉ ढूंढ लिया, आपको पता चल गया कि भाई ऑथर ने या तो एक्स्ट्रापोलेट करके जनरलाइज कर दी बात, ठीक है, तब आप क्या करो, जब आप एक्स्ट्रापोलेट करते हो, यू कैन इजीली पॉइंट दैट आउट इन वीकनिंग आर्ग्यूमेंट, समझ रहे हो। आपको वीकनिंग का आंसर कैसे मिलेगा, आपको आर्टिकल में जो गलती है वहीं से मिलेगा। सपोज, चलो एक एग्जांपल करते हैं, आई टेल यू समथिंग, ठीक है, नाउ यू विल बी वेरी हेस्टी इन पिकिंग अप व्हाट फ्लॉ इन माय लाइन, राइट। सपोज आई टेल यू कि 8 बज गए हैं, एंड यू विल करेक्ट मी बाय सेइंग व्हाट, मैम अभी तो 7 भी नहीं बजे, यू आर पिकिंग अ फ्लॉ in my argument, that's you are doing weakening as well. Conclude the main, coming Satish, coming to the point as well, coming to that as well, आलोक, समझ रहे हो, किसी की गलती ढूंढकर जब हम उसी का आर्ग्यूमेंट बना लेते हैं, दैट इज वीकनिंग द आर्ग्यूमेंट। एंड कमिंग टू द क्वेश्चन ऑफ काउंटर आर्ग्यूमेंट एंड कॉन्ट्रोडिक्टिंग द ऑथर्स आर्ग्यूमेंट, कॉन्ट्रोडिक्शन का मतलब है जो बात उन्होंने फैक्ट में कही आप उसको बदल देते हो, राइट। जो काउंटर आर्ग्यूमेंट है वो भी आपकी जिद क्या है, उसको गलत प्रूव करना, false। counter contradict में you want to prove the author wrong, false। and in weakening you simply don't want to prove them false but want to point out, simply point out what, that there is something wrong logically with author's argument। are we clear? Alok, Satish, Priya, Manoj, are you getting what I'm trying to tell you? Between flaw and weakening, Santosh, flaw is inherently in the passage's content। ऑथर ने खुद ने कोई लॉजिकली मिस्टेक की होगी, उसी मिस्टेक को जब हम आर्ग्यूमेंट में कन्वर्ट करके एक वीकनिंग आर्ग्यूमेंट बनाते हैं टू टेल द ऑथर दैट योर आर्ग्यूमेंट इज नॉट 100% करेक्ट, दैट्स वीकनिंग। शुड आई रीफ्रेज दैट, शुड आई टेल यू दैट अगेन? इनकम्प्लीट इन्फॉर्मेशन और कंप्लीट इन्फॉर्मेशन, प्रांजल इट्स नॉट अबाउट इनकम्प्लीट कंप्लीट। जो क्लेम किया है ना वो अगर समझाया नहीं है, मतलब ना 5 जनों ने कहा और 100 में कन्वर्ट कर दिया, एक बार मैंने आपसे बात नहीं की, आपने कहा आई एम रूड, आई एम एरोगेंट, तो ये क्या होता है, ये फ्लॉ है। यू द ऑथर शुड हैव वेटेड फॉर 2-3 प्रीमाइसेस, राइट, 2-3 एविडेंस तो मिलते बात को क्लियर करने के लिए, राइट, तो आंसर आता, ठीक है। तो फ्लॉ is a logical error in author's argument which is already present, right? You are not adding any external information while finding a flaw, fine। While you are doing a weakening question, you can use external information। external information means whatever is not in the passage, ठीक है, whatever is not in the passage, you take that information and you want to weaken or shaken the author's foundation, right, by telling them that you are not 100% correct। that is what weakening is। Konika, are all extreme options are wrong? No, 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 sometimes the article may be written in an extreme tone। मैम लास्ट में डाउट सबका लगेगा, करवा दीजिए। कृष्णा, you are right, but patience is not everyone's virtue। flaw of reasoning, तुषार, योगेश, I'm coming back to your question। तुषार, see, flaw of reasoning का एक और example, suppose I give you a strategy, ठीक है, I give you 5 pointers that you have to solve, and in the last I tell you कि if you are tired, take a break। Like I tell you to do questions, to read articles, focus on all the 5 subjects, and fourth one I give you an example of idea that if you are tired, take break, take a break, okay। Out of all the 4 things, you pick my 4th point and you tell that the teacher is giving a wrong strategy, that's flaw। How? Because now in the article, you are doing what? You are discussing only the fourth one, right? Sometimes it happens like you have four options and the author is discussing only one, right? And that to an extreme gravity by telling us that this is the only problem with the situation. That's a flaw, because when you have four reasons, when you have four things that are responsible for one thing, you can't be taking one, right? All options are weakened. How to choose better one? Namrata, it's always the one related to the passage, to the argument. Whatever directly challenges the author's argument is your best one. How to identify extreme tone? It's confusing. Priya, you will find the articles where the author is directly inclined towards one side, toward the other side. It comes with practice. I do not have any 100% sure strategy for everyone. This comes with reading, right? This comes with reading. When you have read so many editorials, articles, opinions, right, in the newspapers, you will be able to identify core ideas, main points, inferences, everything. Aage padhao. I'm doing that only. Awesome. So, getting my point? Theme, idea, argument, strengthening, weakening. Okay. Now next what? Let's discuss assumption and inference. Okay, let's do that. We'll get on to the practice session as well. Let me complete the concepts, 2-3 more. Okay, assumption. Listen to me. Pranjal will take that as one. Okay, assumption comes before the passage. Okay, assumption is the thinking part which, according to the author, is always true, is taken for granted. Okay, is taken for granted by the author, and so they do not mention those lines in the passage. That is your assumption. This is the technical definition of assumption, right? In other words, assumption is the basis of your article. कोई आर्टिकल लिखा जाता है तो उससे पहले उसको सोचना पड़ता है. Whatever the belief system of the author is becomes the assumption for that article. उसी के बेसिस पर पूरा कंटेंट बनाया जाता है. ओके, नाउ ऑथर टेक्स इट फॉर ग्रांटेड इन सच अ वे कि ऑथर को लगता है सबको पता ही है ये बात, सो दे डोंट मेंशन इट, राइट? एंड अदर वर्ड फॉर assumption इज अनस्टेटेड प्रेमाइस. प्रेमाइस इज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर फाइंडिंग एन आर्ग्यूमेंट, राइट? अब उसी आर्ग्यूमेंट का जो प्रेमाइस स्टेटेड है उसका एक पार्ट होता है जो पैसेज में लिखा नहीं होता, जिसको बोलते हैं अनस्टेटेड प्रेमाइस. वो होता है assumption. ठीक है, आपके काम की बात. The thing which is important for you is, while solving the question, you have 4 options. Check the importance. Check the importance of all the 4 options. Of course, Santosh, it is a gap between premise and conclusion, right? भाई बात कहाँ से निकली थी और ऑथर ने क्यों कंक्लूड करी, वो assumption से पता चलता है. बट दैट बिकम्स टू टेक्निकल फॉर यू व्हेन यू आर सॉल्विंग द क्वेश्चन. तो सॉल्व करने का तरीका ये है कि जब 4 ऑप्शंस दिए हैं, यू रीड द 4 ऑप्शंस एंड चेक देम फॉर देयर एसेंशियल क्वालिटी. कौन सा ऑप्शन अगर मैं हटा दूं, if I don't use an option as my assumption, you have to check, is the article still valid or not? That is your answer. अगर आपको बात समझ में आई, I'll take parallel reasoning as well. जब आपको कोई assumption का क्वेश्चन मिलता है, check the 4 options कि चारों में से कौन सा ऑप्शन पूरे पैसेज को वैलिड बनाने के लिए जरूरी है, या फिर एक और मतलब ये है कि कौन से ऑप्शन के बिना आर्टिकल लिखा ही नहीं जा सकता. दैट इज योर assumption. आर वी क्लियर? assumption का मतलब है ऐसा ऑप्शन जो असेंशियल है फॉर राइटिंग द आर्टिकल, उसके बिना आर्टिकल लिखा ही नहीं जा सकता. फॉर दैट आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा? प्रांजल, प्रीमाइस स्टेटेड होता है, assumption इज नॉट स्टेटेड. करेक्ट, ठीक है? तो जो प्रीमाइस वर्ड यूज करते हैं वो उन पॉइंट्स के लिए होते हैं जो आर्टिकल्स में है. ठीक है, अंडरमाइन करने वाला ऑप्शन कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करना है? वो तो वीकनिंग हो जाएगा अंडरमाइन करने के लिए. व्हाट इज इट वैष्णवी डिफिकल्टी इन दैट? assumption is always positive. I'm coming to that, Sonakshi. It's not always positive. Suppose you're in favor of something, right? Suppose you like someone, right? You have 2 friends, you like the second one. You may be thinking something negative about the first one, right, to choose the second one as your friend. How about that? राइट? आपके पास में assumption नेगेटिव भी हो सकता है, तो हो सकता है ना किसी चीज को आप पसंद नहीं करते तो उसकी ऑपोजिट चीज के बारे में अच्छा आर्टिकल लिख रहे हो. Assumption can be positive and negative as well. Pranjal, yes. How can understand statement the questions? We'll get to that, Anjali, right? आ रहा है समझ में? Should always be positive. We don't talk in an extreme language, Sachi. कुछ भी ऐसा नहीं है कि ये always होगा. Assumption always depends on how the article is written. If it's a total positive article, maybe the assumption is totally positive. पर ऐसा भी तो हो सकता है कि अगर दो चीजों के बारे में लिखा गया है या फिर दो opposite चीजें आपको पता ही हो, राइट? अगर आपको पता ही है दो कॉन्ट्ररी चीजें कौन सी होती है, तो इट इज पॉसिबल दैट ऑथर इज अगेंस्ट वन एंड इन फेवर ऑफ द अदर, और पूरा आर्टिकल फेवर वाले के बारे में लिखा है, तो assumption can be negative as well. Do not take anything as you know possible or not possible. It's not good, right? Extremely most wrong के होते क्या है? Extreme mostly wrong होते क्या? It depends, Pranjal. It always depends on the passage. Let me be very clear. It will always depend on the passage. You can never ever put anything in a bracket. कैसे निकला passage में question आ जाए is not an assumption of the author. That's a very good question, Harshita. If you get a question where 4 options are given and they're asking you which one of the following is not an assumption, then that's a very easy question for you. Why? Because assumptions can be a number of them. ऐसा तो नहीं है assumption is only one. So you can always broaden your horizons while thinking about assumptions. And one wrong option will be what? Will be what? That will be not related to the passage. If you have done so many practice of questions, you know what I am saying. Assumption ke question mein you always find some options which are not related to the passage. Be quick to mark those options. If you are asked between not an assumption or an assumption, जो गलत है, जो not related to passage हो, तो पक्का ही हटा दो. लाइबा, difference between flow and paradox, those are two very different concepts. जो ऑप्शन नेगेटिव प्राइमरली इज एक्सट्रीम, जरूरी नहीं है प्रांजल. अगेन आई टेल यू focus on the passage. Sometimes you have an article which is extreme in its own. वो होता है ऐसा ही, तो तब assumption भी extreme होगा, inference भी होगा, primarily word भी सही होगा, significantly word भी सही होगा. When you are practicing the questions, focus on such questions as well. Okay? Nithi, I've already explained contradiction versus counter argument. I'll take that again in a moment. Coming to inference. Okay? Inference. What is an inference? When you have read an article, whatever you are understanding, whatever you are inferring from the passage, infer means to understand, whatever you are understanding line by line from the passage, all comes into the category of inference. And there is a very good line to remember. Bhushan, I'll take that question in a minute. All inferences, all mention fact or readers, Yogesh, it's always on what we have understood, right? What we have understood, right? What we have understood is inference, what you understand from the passage, right? From what you are understanding, or you can take, something more as well in the, you can generalize also. Some inferences are generalized also. You can say known and unknown, you put it together, you can infer something. But important part is, it is also not stated, it is all the understanding part of the passage. Sometimes conclusion is also an inferred thing, right? Sometimes explicitly mentioned नहीं होता Rajesh, नहीं होता. Conclusion is also inferred from the passage in those cases where you do not find the words in the last, such as therefore, thus, so that, नहीं होता वो लिखा हुआ. In that case क्या करते हैं? Conclusion भी हम infer कर रहे हैं. तो inference is basically the major part of an article. When you are reading main idea, you're finding on main idea argument which are not explicitly stated. They are all what? They are all inferences. They are all part of inference. Likely to agree, author will agree with that, author will disagree with that. Not true according to the passage, true according to the passage, can be inferred from the passage, cannot be inferred from the passage. Everything is what? Inference. Whatever you understand from the passage is what? Inference, right? And when you are solving a question of inference, of likely to agree, disagree, any of that sort, please let me remind you the things which are not mentioned in the passage never becomes a part of inference or agree, disagree, true, not true. Are we clear? The things which are not mentioned in the passage cannot be your answer. You will have to stick with the passage. See, I am assuming that you have read so many things in your preparation, so many articles, that now you have your own set of information for every topic. Am I right? Or am I right? You have read so many things that you have your own information now. And for CR, you'll have to restrict all that information. Stick with the passage. Right? And conclusion. Coming to the conclusion topic. Conclusion will be the ending part where the author is taking is taking the article towards, right? Where is the article ending? That is your conclusion. Yogesh, in a minute we'll go back to the questions, right? Let me get your concepts clear so that when you're solving these questions, right? What you said about extreme options, they're not always wrong. This is what I'm saying, Hamza. Right? Harshita, why will someone form such a question for you, right? They are making sorted questions, sorted options. Why don't you go back to the past year papers? And you will be very clear that if they're asking you inference, they'll stick with that. They won't mix the options for you to get confused, right? Okay, coming to conclusion, that will like summarize the whole passage, or maybe you, if you're lucky, you will find an conclusion at the end of the passage. That's a very good possibility. But if you do not have that thing, you infer the conclusion as well. I think we have covered all the topics, right? Weekend में out of the passage होता है, of course होता है, extra information ले सकते हैं, right? ले सकते हैं. Khushi, you're very late. We have discussed the concepts. Now we are moving on to the practice of questions, right? Okay. So what we are left with is paradox and parallel reasoning, I think. Yes, Bhushan, I remember paradox. Okay. Now paradox is what? Of course, we can practice two more questions, two more topics, Pranjal. Okay, then we'll discuss the questions. Okay, then you will solve the questions and I'll give you time. Okay, let's do that. We'll take that as well. Okay, Rajesh. Paradox. See, paradox is a contradictory situation. Paradox is a contradictory situation that is happening at the same time. If you have read this paradox, you'll understand this very well. That you are continuously studying, but your mock marks are not increasing. Normal situation would be what? If you're studying for 10 hours, आपके मॉक में मार्क्स बढ़ने चाहिए. That's normal situation. But what's a paradox? आप 10-12 घंटे पढ़ रहे हैं, फिर भी आपके मॉक के मार्क्स नहीं बढ़ रहे. That is a paradox. When two contradictory things are happening at the same time, right? That is a paradox. And for CR, you are asked to give a reason. You are asked to give a reason as to why this thing is why is this thing happening? You know, resolve the paradox means you have to do what? You have to give an explanation as to why these two contradictory things are happening at the same time. Let me come back to CR and then we discuss paradox. What I am trying to tell you is, when you are, right Pranjal, you are correct. But that solution will not remove the paradox, okay? When you are reading an article, paradox will be explained in the passage. And this article is written for the intent that they are going to discuss the reason behind that paradox. That is why that article is written. Paradox is not, we are not discussing RC, we are discussing CR. Then that paradox will become the whole content of the passage. An author will make sure to give you an explanation. Resolving the paradox does not mean that paradox will be removed. It is simply an explanation of what is a why is this paradox happening, right? And you will find both the answers in the passage. Don't worry, okay? Don't worry, you will find the paradox and resolving the paradox answers in the passage. What we are left with? Parallel reasoning, mirror. Mirror, this thing has been asked for like once in so many 5 years. But okay, Pranjal, good. Thanks for reminding me cause and effect and course of action. Coming back to it in a minute, let's discuss mirror the reasoning. Now, what is that? Parallel reasoning means whatever is the structure of the article. Suppose air pollution we were discussing, some incidents, ill effects, then government schemes, then solution. You will find this same structure in your option. That is parallel reasoning. When the person who's preparing the question, they are assuming that you've understood the passage and you've understood the structure of the passage. Now they are asking you to sum up that structure in one of the options. That is parallel reasoning. Okay, and it is not possible to sometimes have that option where everything matches. In that case, you take the option which has the most elements matching. Okay, that is your answer. Very, very rare question, but still you've asked, we'll do it. Course of action. What comes next? Course of action means what comes next. Suppose I am teaching you the concepts. What is my next course of action? To make you solve the questions to check whether you've understood the concepts or not. That will be my course of action, right? Course of action, either it is in the passage, author will have given some hints as to what he wants the solution to be, or is giving you a hint throughout the passage, okay, for what the course of action should be. Basically, it is what should be done next. Okay, argument and assertion identification. Yogesh, I think this is the last concept. See, assertion is author believes everyone knows it. Assumption is also the same, but assertion will be in the passage. Okay, like they give you random statements and they are believing that you know it. Okay, that is an assertion. Like suppose I want to tell that earth is round. Everyone knows it. I don't need to prove it. But suppose I'm writing an article about earth is flat. Then that will be my argument. Why? Because I will be explaining why I am calling earth flat. Right? That is argument. If whatever is explained in the passage, elaborated in the passage using premises and conclusion will be argument. And assertion is a statement which is like will not be explained by the author in the passage. Underlying presumption is assumption. Santosh ma'am, what is discrepancy? Flaw. What is wrong in author's logical reasoning is flaw. Cause and effect, right? Some things likely to be an outcome, same as like some problem is given, whatever can be done, whatever is like you understand from it, outcome is like what will be the result of that. That is your answer basically. Cause and effect, yes. Suppose some students say they drink coffee and then they can't sleep at night. That's cause and effect, right? You have a cause and you have an effect to that, right? You have you can give a cause. Suppose extreme heat you are discussing and you have a cause that this is because of climate change, right? Those are cause and effect. You will have a reason and then you will have a result of that. That is cause and effect. Okay, Manoj, of course I'm coming back to question, but concept clarity is very important, Manoj, right? We have to follow the league. Passage nahi hoga mausam, we are doing it, right? Effect must always nahi hota. It's like it will be aligned to the passage if it is in the passage, okay? It's difficult, that's fine, but you have to find the answers to the question because you are doing all this drill for what? For the sake of those marks in CR. You're not here for any kind of, what do we call, like you don't have to become professor in it. You simply have to fetch the marks, right? And for that, elimination works best. Why? Because you're clear that incorrect option is incorrect. You won't go back to that and you can have your answer. Okay. Richa, what should critical reasoning sequence? See, this all depends on you. Okay. This all depends on your own strategy for mock. You want to do RC first, CR first, legal first, QT, anything you like. But it should be a strategy which is often repeated by you. It should be a strategy which you have practiced enough times that you are confident on the 1st of December. Are we clear? So I hope you are clear with the concepts. And now the important part is concepts cannot be solidified without practice of questions. We'll practice the questions. You will give me an answer. Nidhi, you're still left with contradiction and counter argument. Pranjal, pata nahi hai kitne ka passage aayega, kitne words ka aayega, we do not know. CR first is fine, Santosh, that will depend on you. Or let's not discuss the word length. Simply be clear that you should be able to decode any kind of passage, right? That's our only drill for CR, right? You give me anything, I can read everything, right? That should be our motto. If you want a revision of this passage, those who are new, You can read the passage in a minute and then I'll change the screen, okay? And we'll start solving the questions. You will give me the answers in the chat box, okay? And let's start. Take your minute to go through this passage again and then we'll solve it, okay? I hope you have read the passage and I am now going to shift the screen. First question. All these questions, let me be clear, all these questions are part of past year papers, not the same ones. The format of the question has been taken from the past year papers. I was wondering if we should have a repeat of, past year papers. That won't make sense because my assumption is what? You have done those past year papers up till now, right? So how much time to give in CR? Maximum 30, move beyond that, okay? Let's discuss the questions. Come on, give your answers. You have a minute to solve the question. You'll get 30 seconds only. Huh? You have to finish the CR, right? In the stipulated time. The question is about main idea expressed in the passage. Do you want the elimination thing or should I tell you the answer? Namrata, Namisha, Khushi, Jeevan, Unique, Jeevan, Nidhi, Santosh, Pranjal. Pranjal, you're saying B. Namisha, B. Do you want to check your answers again? Yogesh, C. We are discussing main idea, main point of the passage. Do you want to change your answers? As you want me to eliminate the options? Okay. Laiba, A. Konika, A. Sonakshi, A. Pranjal, good. Good, you have changed your answer. Clearly, A. I'll go for elimination as well. I'm asking your answers. Tejveer, A. Vaishnavi, A. Hamza, A. Bhushan, A. Good. These many answers are enough to pick. I'm not picking the answer. I'll eliminate the option. Right? We'll solve it. The distinction between stress and anxiety, where stress is typically external and temporary. Most stress is eliminated, is gone after the event. It's written in the passage. While anxiety is internal and persistent. Seems like an answer. We'll put it on hold, of course, and then we'll see the other options. The various causes of stress in teenagers' lives, including social events and global issues. Why would this be your answer? Is my question to you. See, you have to pick the main point. This can be a supporting argument. This can be a supporting premise. But why the main idea? This does not cover everything. Okay? The physical and mental responses to external events that cause stress in daily life. See, this is such a narrow option. Be confident to remove the options which are narrow. This is not even our answer. This is not even covering everything. Impact of global issues like climate change and war on teenage mental health. This is only the last part of the passage, right? Which is covered in this option. Answer would be what? Option A. Be confident in your answers. Only then you can move forward. And also, I don't know, it's B. See, I forgot to mention, I will not show you the passage again. Are you getting? Because while doing mock, what is my expectation is you should not turn the page again to look into the passage. And what we have read here right now, it's not even B. It's not even a lengthy passage for you to miss the important points, right? I won't show the passage again, right? I won't show you the passage again. This is your first question. Moving on to the next question. Done? Pranjal, B. Okay. Are we getting some answers? Is it too lengthy for you? We're not getting any answers. Pranjal, you are saying B or it's A? B. Bhushan, B. B. Kajal, B. Vaishnavi, B. Vaishnavi, B. Mukesh, B. Nidhi, B. Anjali, B. Why don't you do one more thing and you write the argument as well, which was strengthening? Namrata, C. Shreya C, Yogender B, Preetal B, Shreya C, Sonakshi C. Write the argument as well which you are strengthening in the question. Laiba C, Santosh B. I'm reading your answers. C. Nidhi C, Khushi C. Okay, let's do the question. Why waste time, right? You have to strengthen author's argument. See, author's argument was about stress versus temporary said by author. Why don't you read? Okay. C, Samarth, Yogesh B, Jeevan B. Do you want to write your arguments as well? From what I have read from the passage, author is discussing stress versus anxiety both. Why are you focused on stress only? Sachi C, Samarth C. Now I'm getting where you get stuck. From your answers, I can easily understand you are stuck in the first few lines of the passage. Diva, focus on the question. Vaishnavi, after withdrawing factors, stress is removed as well. Most stress. Vaishnavi, it's written most stress and not all. Right? Akarsh A. Do you want to read the passage? I won't make you read the passage again. But the argument is about stress and anxiety both. Right? Why are you stuck on the first few lines of the passage? Harshita C. C. Let's eliminate the options. Research showing teenagers who follow world news experience higher levels of persistent anxiety. How is this strengthening the author's argument? See, you are trying to say those who follow world news experience persistent anxiety. What about stress? Stress versus anxiety, both were given, right? Both were given, and from what I can read here, you are not trying to strengthen in stress versus anxiety both, right? Studies indicating that the most people quickly recover from stress once the triggering event is over. Again, stress versus anxiety. You're not covering the whole argument. Data showing that internal thought patterns are more likely to cause long-term mental health issues than external events. It is in the passage as well, where they are discussing stress and anxiety. Author has mentioned this part as well, where they are trying to focus on internal thought patterns, because external, they are saying that they get over once the stress goes, once the event is also finished, right? And evidence that prompt preparation, this is only discussing one part of prompt. So our correct answer is option C. Are we clear? Are we clear? Let's move on to next question. Vaishnavi, you can't get it. What? Vaishnavi, you picked only one half of the argument. That's why you did not get the answer right. That data shows, we don't want that, Preetal. कर सकते हैं, confusion BC में था, still good. See, you are trying to complicate things. Why do you want data? It's an opinion. Solve this question and then we can discuss it. Your answers, please. Yogesh, what's V? There is no V option. C. Okay. Namrata, B. Kajal, C. C. Okay, all of you are saying C. Sachi, Vaishnavi, Tejveer, Bhushan, C. Sonakshi, C. C. Those who are marking C, I'm going to ask you where it is written managed. Which of the following is managed better? Shivraj Singh, C. Harshita, C. Anjali, C. Yogendra Mukesh, C. Santosh, B. Samarth, C. Jeevan, A. Jeevan, you hold on to this comment. Alok, A. Manoj, A. You have changed your answers or what? And now I'm getting the correct answer. Why would you pick C? Now see, I'll tell you where you have gone wrong. You read the words which are similar from the passage and then you picked it. Am I right or am I right? You simply did what? You matched the words from the passage. Manoj, no, then it's good. Manage is not mentioned. This is what I am saying. Right? Okay, Jeevan, good. Then it's good. A. Where this is you are doing match the following when you are inferred something from the passage. Look, yes, you picked correct. Good. Are we clear? You are inferring something from the passage. There is no discussion of who is managing it better. Right? This is wrong. Teenagers are more. There is no discussion of teenagers and adults together. You can't infer. Next. All forms of stress eventually transform into anxiety if left unaddressed. We do not know. We do not know. Anxiety requires different coping mechanisms than stress since it stems from internal rather than external sources. I told you inference can be what? Some external information as well. ये डिस्कस किया, so I got confused. It's fine, but इतना तो लिखा है कि most of the stress goes away when the event is done with, and anxiety stays with you. So if you are trying to manage your anxiety, you will need something else, and for stress you need something else. A is your answer. Can you see how broad the option is? It is not directly from the passage. It is not even, if you don't find these words, you are like, ye option to galat hai. Don't do that. Read the whole passage, right? Read the whole option. Okay? Moving on to the next question. Nidhi, where does it talk about? You can infer this, Nidhi. You can understand that anxiety and stress has to be addressed differently. Vatsal, Khushi, Kajal, Yogendra, B. Bhushan, B. Yogesh, Manoj, Shreya, Yogendra, all for B. Harshita, B. Okay. Unique, C. Jia, B. Harshita, B. Clearly B. I like that confidence. Clearly B. True as per the passage and not as per our thinking. Clear? Option use all, always, etc. Good, Vatsal. All stress is harmful and should be avoided. Now, this is an extreme option, right? Which you can easily eliminate because it is written in the passage most. Most is done away with when the event is finished, right? Stress can be associated with both positive and negative events. It's from the passage second line where they are calling prom good and test thing bad, right? This seems like an answer, but anxiety always follows stressful situation. This is your type of question, right? Where you can easily eliminate the extreme options. Global issues are the primary cause of stress in teenagers. These are one of the larger issues, right? So our obvious answer is option B, and this should not take time, right? When it's done, it's done. Okay, next. Are we done with the question? Your answers, please. Achha, it's weakening one. Take a few seconds more. Yogendra, B. Manoj, B. Okay. Khushi, Anjali, Nithi, Prachi, all for B. Jeevan, C. Krishna, B. Alok, C. Namisha, B. Konika, A. Yogesh, D. Vatsal, A. Amrita, C. Naveen, B. Vatsal, A. Okay, B. Aditya, Pranjal, B. Bhushan, D. Yogesh, D. Sonakshi, B. Vaishnavi, C. Anjali, C. Jia, C. I'm reading the options, right? C. Okay, let's discuss the question without waiting even a second anymore. Weakens the argument. An argument is in the question. When you have an argument in the question, it becomes an easy option. Namra Aftab D, Samarth B, Shivraj Singh B. Chalo, ठीक है. I've gotten your answers. Okay. Pranjal A, Divyani D. Vatsal. Okay, Mukesh between B and C. Okay. Now let me tell you, Mukesh, you are confused between very wrong options. Okay, let's discuss. Divyani, I got your answer. Kritika, no idea. Why no idea? You have to fill the OMR, right? Larger issues of the world cannot be the basis of stress. It's in the passage that larger issues are basis of stress. Those climate change and war are written, right? Now you have to weaken. When you're weakening this, larger issues can be the basis of stress, right? A study showing that teenagers who follow global news experience temporary stress during major world war events. This is saying that it can be a reason of stress for teenagers. Fine. Seems a weakening argument, right? Research indicating that only awareness of global issue leads to long-term behavioral changes in teenagers. This is not related. Those who have picked this answer, how did you even pick this question? This is a question about that larger issues of the world cannot be the basis of stress. You are changing behaviors. Why? See, now I'll tell you what went wrong when you picked B. You are picking the options which are what? Framed good. Why would you pick B? You would tell me, yes, D, good. You don't have to discuss the behavior changes in the passage. This is not discussed and this is not related to the passage. Wrong. Evidence that teenagers who discuss world issues with peers show better stress management skills. Why do you want to manage the skills? You tell me. Why do you want to manage the skills, right, of these stress? This is not related to the passage. No one is asking you to manage the stress. They are asking you, can larger issues be the basis of stress? Right? Right? So answer by elimination also you're left with, okay, no, we have A in competition and we have B in competition. Okay. Statistics, these are those two questions in which you get confused, right? Statistics showing that teenager stress levels spike during global crisis and return to normal afterward. This is what this passage is saying, they are largest stressors. If you remember the last line, that climate change and war can also be stressors. See, this is a weak argument. When you pick the options such as two, you are getting two options and you are getting confused in that. The only problem is that this is a weak argument. You are saying they experience temporary stress during major world events, right? And return to normal afterward. Yes. Statistics showing that teenager stress levels spike during global temporary stress during major world events, and what happens after? What happens after is disturbance in background. Better laga, Harshita. Right, this is right. This is a strong option. See, when you are confused between two options, same hi hai, ma'am. Namrata, it is also talking about that the stress levels go back to normal. Stresses were what? When the Namrata, we'll go back to the passage without looking back to the passage. It is saying that most of the stress goes away when the event is also finished. You have to take that part as well, right? You have to take that part as well, that stressors, you can manage the stress when the stressor is gone. So your answer will be D, because this is a strong option. This is a strong argument, right? Next, let's try one more passage. I hope you are bus minor, right? But again, that's the point, Harshita. You have to find the better weakening argument, right? Necessary to give a solution? No, it's not necessary, Nidhi. It depends on the passage again. Let's start with one more passage. Focus on the passage. Okay? Read the passage well. I won't show you the passage again. Okay? Read the passage. Very, very small article for you to read. Soumya, why not B? You can, because B is talking about behavior, right? Please hide. Sorry, Yash. Is it visible to you now? Soumya, I am saying B is talking about behavioral change. Passage is nowhere discussing behavior. Sorry to disturb you, other people. Read the passage. I'll discuss the passage with you, and I want to simply show you something in the passage, and then you are on your own, right? Then you are on your own. Someone asked what is extreme. This is extreme. Author is trying to tell us that it is irreversible climate change. Okay? Irreversible. That author has shown no hope for climate change to go back. That is extreme. Region is already experiencing the brunt of climate change with melting glaciers, erratic weather patterns threatening the livelihoods of those who depend on its fragile environment. And then Wangchuk's long march, this is talking about Sonam Wangchuk, right? Becomes symbolic plea to the world. Are you getting? This was talking about Ladakh. It has gone to a broader context discussing world, then reminding everyone that climate change reach extends far beyond remote mountainous regions. Clear? I'm highlighting the important parts. If you have missed these lines, you can read them again. Global issue that needs immediate collective action. When I say extreme will be in the passage, or words such as immediate, irreversible will be in the passage, this is that passage. Okay? The journey marked by both physical and environmental changes has become a powerful statement of resilience, unity, all good. Their mission is twofold. Read here. Demand constitutional safeguards for Ladakh under 6th schedule and to call global attention to pressing climate crisis. Did you get two parts of the conclusion? Decoded the passage very well, talking about Ladakh, gone to a broader aspect of the world, discussing Sonam Wangchuk's long march to New Delhi, talking about immediate collective action because it's on the brink of irreversible climate change, and then it is asking about talking about twofold aspects of the vision, 6th schedule and global attention to the pressing climate. Now let me remind you, this is not about what? GK. So you don't need to know what is 6th schedule to move on, right? You simply have to know that they are talking about two solutions. Okay? Moving on to the question, I'll show you the question. You will solve it and put your answers in the comment section. Put your answers in the comment section. Let me see. Your answers. Pranjal C. Anjali C. Now focus on the question well. It is talking about cannot be inferred. And since I've got your answers, I'll discuss the passage. The climate crisis in Ladakh has implications beyond geographical boundaries, talking about the world. Inferred. Local communities in Ladakh are directly affected by changing weather patterns, talking about their livelihood, can be inferred. Wangchuk's march has successfully resulted in policy changes. This is your extra. Nothing is mentioned about this in the passage. Melting glaciers are one of the visible effects of climate change. Can be inferred from the passage. Only option remains option C. If it is not mentioned in the passage, it cannot be inferred in the passage. Next question. Kritika, Harshita, Nishtha C. Yogesh is saying A. Anjali B. Vatsal A. Manoj, Konika, Jeevan for A option. Yogesh, Namrata for A. Bhushan for A. Vatsal for A. Khushi for A. Okay, let's see. Now you have to pick an assumption, underlying assumption. Environmental changes in mountainous regions are early indicators of global climate crisis. See, the passage is talking about environmental changes and discussing the situation of Ladakh. This, you put this on that pedestal to call it important. If you can do without this, this is not your assumption. And I think this is talking about environmental changes, mountainous regions. Of course, we are talking about Ladakh. Early indicators of global crisis seems like an important point for the article to be written. Constitutional safeguards alone can protect. These are your extreme options, and they are talking about constitutional safeguards plus they are talking about what? There is one more option in the passage, so it is not alone. Public demonstrations are the most effective way to achieve policy changes. This is not talking about only march, right? Not only march and not about public demonstration. This is important but is not essential for the whole passage to be written. Climate change affects only high altitude regions more severely. Because the article is talking about Ladakh and mountainous regions does not make this important, right? There can be other places as well. So only option remains option A. Okay, moving on to the next question. Santosh, you are saying A. Mukesh, Jeevan B, Yash B, Sheetal B, Harshita A, Nidhi B, Yash B, Yokesh B, Vaishnavi B, Krishna, Richa, Namrata, Prachi, all for B. Right? It's in the passage B. And you need what? Meaningful action on climate change requires what? It's from the last line of the passage. You have to remember the passage as well, because you are not allowed to turn the pages. You don't have that much time, right? Both constituted directly from the passage. This is talking about one. And this is not even in the passage. This is not mentioned. So only option remains B. I hope we are not going fast. This is good enough for you. Actually, we are practicing, right? And if you already know the concept, we can of course move forward, right? Pranjal, of course, it's an easy question. Papers are always balanced, right? Harshita B. Anjali B. Richa D. Think better. Think better. Bhushan C. Prachi B. Because we are in a practice session, why are you picking this? We are in a grave situation right now. You have historically been a better country, better place. Why are you picking this one? See, this is how your mind gets stuck on one word. Namrata, Neha A, Nidhi C, Pranjal A, Anjali A, Vaishnavi C, Harshita, Namisha A, Krishna A, Aditya D. You tell me, you have to most weaken the argument, which is what the urgency expressed in the passage. You tell me, similar climate patterns have occurred naturally in the past. Yes, this is not even related to the argument. This is not even in the argument. But they are on the brink of irreversible climate change. Vaishnavi, right? Right? So they're in the brink. You can reverse it using technology. Why not use this option? You have to weaken it. They are talking about urgency of a thing. Why not? Why not take something which is on the brink of irreversible? You reverse it using technology. And you can, of course, use an external information. No problem in that. No problem in that. The impacts are limited. What? Why? How will this, counter urgency? People are not going for that long march. They're not going for that long march because it's a seasonal thing. It's a grave thing, and they are on the brink of irreversible climate change. Vaishnavi, ma'am, see, this is what I'm saying, Vaishnavi. You were giving the reason. I am the weakening part. Pranjal, they are saying they're on the brink of irreversible climate change. We are calling it reverse all climate change effects, and it's most weakening. You can of course use external information. Okay, next. Mukesh, you're saying sense wrong. Good. Now solve this question. जीवन B, Vatsal B, Nithi B, Fiza B, Pranjal B, Tejveer B, Anjali, Prachi, Namrata, all for B. If you say all for B, mostly supports passage characterization of Ladakh, multiple downstream glaciers, water situation, flooding, and water shortage. Both can be the downstream effects. Something goes wrong in the downstreams as well. B seems like an answer. The region's climate changes affect only local tourism, does not support the gravity of the climate crisis. They've called it bigger than, right? The problem, purely political issue. Obvious answer is B, and because these questions are based on past year paper pattern, what they have asked in the past year papers, they are this much easy only. That is why I prepared such questions, right? Those who are asking for batch situation, you'll have to call the helpline number, right? You can contact the LPT number, right? सही लगते हैं, कभी 2-3 में confuse हो जाते हैं. There is no such thing as, if you're reading the passage and the questions correct, don't worry. These are not PYQs, Mukesh. These are based on PYQs. Same, the length of the option, the type of question, it's similar to past year papers, okay? And when you are reading the options well, I hope your confidence is getting better, that you are able to eliminate the options well. One more passage? A break for a minute? Or should we move on to the passage? What do you want? Mukesh, Santosh, what do you want? Should we move on to one more passage? Right? No, Vatsal. Break. Santosh, 2 hours का तो paper होता है. You have to give the exam for 2 hours. You should be able to concentrate for that much. Read the article, okay? Break. Why break? You have to give the exam in 2 hours. Why take a break? Those who are asking about 2026 batch, please call the number. यहाँ तो काफी सही होते हैं. Do it in the moment, Yash. Do it in the moment, right? Sonakshi, I've already moved on. Read the passage. Done? Give me some hint that you have read the passage. Side. राजेश, 2-3 ऑप्शन में कंफ्यूज हो जाती हूँ. That will get better with practice. Krishna, reading is your only option. And now I think I've disturbed you sufficiently. Let's discuss the passage. Quarterly basis report of PLFS, which is what? Highest earning from self-employment during last 30 days. There is a discussion of this quarter. Of course, it's a quarterly basis report. Quarterly, they are discussing money for rural males, for rural females. There is a good difference between 1456 and 14,000 around and 5,000 around. Then they have discussed for urban males and females as well. It is 24,000 around, and this is around 9K, right? Therefore, now this is the conclusion of this report, right? Women in self-employment earn only 1/3 of what men can do, okay? Average earning for women in rural areas is much less than 1 lakh per annum. In urban areas, just about a lakh. This is a discussion of lakh rupees, right? This doesn't bode well very towards the goal for making Lakpati Didis. You remember this scheme, right? This is in context of this, that if you are trying to make this scheme successful, Lakpati Didis in rural areas, the women in the rural areas are not even earning 1 lakh per annum. They are earning much less than that. What is clear is that studying short-term trends in employment without including a gendered analysis does not make much sense anymore. Getting the clarity over here? Second, there is tremendous increase in women's work participation rates, which is fine. There is nothing in the data that show it is a positive shift towards improving livelihoods. Instead, What it probably indicates is the pressure on women to contribute to household incomes in time of distress. Are we clear? Correct? The notion of scheme and need to solution. Yes, Santosh. Yes, correct. Are we clear in the passage? Now don't think beyond this. Right? Don't go beyond this. Simply stick with the passage, and information is given about quarterly basis of PLFS report, and they are discussing the data. Lakpati Didis, you don't have to criticize or something all related to Lakpati Didis. Don't bring anything into your mind. Simply go with the flow and solve the question. Solve the question and give your answers. Manoj, Sonakshi, waiting for your answers. Aryan, yes. Aryan, B. Good. Namra, Aditya, Rishabh, good. Good going. Jeevan, Sheetal, Fiza, Preetal, Kajal, Santosh, good. Right? Gender wage gap undermines, weakens the goal of creating Lakpati Didis. The first paragraph is ending where that women in rural areas cannot earn more than 1 lakh, and then they are discussing Lakpati Didis. This seems like best answer for what author's opinion. The increase in women's work participation indicates economic empowerment, not the best answer, right? Short-term employment trends show positive shifts in women's livelihoods. Again, not the main argument. Rural women's earnings are sufficient? No. Only answer remains option B. Right? From elimination also you'll get B, and if you're able to solve it directly, that's the best part. That means you are very good at comprehension. Moving on. Harshita, is it the answer for this one or next one? Solve this question and give your answer. I'll give you a second. Okay, Jeevan, you are trying to attempt the question. A. Anjali, B. Jeevan, C. Is it a guesswork or did you calculate it? Tell me now. C. These are the questions for which if you have to calculate these numbers, leave the question. You know, one mistake that I missed in the beginning, or you can say I deliberately waited for this. Vaishnavi, I won't show you the passage again. What word passage it is? No. See, this is that question where you have to stop yourself from marking the answer. Why? Because first, you don't remember the passage, right? Second, you are making a guesswork. Don't do this question. This is that tricky question which you have to let go. Because we are not clear. Correct, Santosh. You're not clear. Leave the question. This is one of those problems which you face while doing a mock. You try to solve all the questions, irrespective of the fact that you can't read the options also. Will you be calculating this 36, 50, 35? Why? Why? My question to you is leave the question and move on. We'll move on. You don't even need to know the answer for this, though the answer is A. Okay, but we don't have to solve this, right? Manoj, Rishabh, don't waste your time. Move on, right? Next question. Mukesh, this is your problem. Fix it. Fastly करे कैसे करना ही नहीं है वैष्णवी. You don't have to calculate. Leave the question. Jeevan, Preetal, Namra Aftab, Anjali, Khushi, all for A, B. Yash, B. This is a question about author's interpretation of increased women's work participation. It reflects economic progress. Author has not praised this in such words, right? If you can remember the last line, author is trying to tell you that they are working in distress. This is direct answer. When there are easy questions, Munu, thanks for that. I'm really appreciated that you are getting what I'm trying to teach you. This is direct answer. When you have direct answers, please pick it, move on. Right? It shows successful implementation. No. Represents voluntary. There's no discussion of voluntary words. Right? This is an easy passage. Namra, when you are able to solve the questions, you call the passages easy. Of course. But this is the trick. You have to solve all the questions, and when you are doing it in the rhythm, right? Some will be easy, some will be difficult. You only have to pass that bridge, right? A is a direct answer, and we will not even waste another second over it, right? Bhushan, thanks. Solve the next question. Direct tha, ma'am. Correct, Harshita, but you have to be confident, right? You have to be confident that you have marked the correct answer. Direct or not direct, that's not your discussion, right? Sonakshi, why not C? Successful implementation, author is saying Lakpati Didi will not be achieved. Do it. Santosh. Manoj. Thanks for the compliments. Solve the question. Don't get distracted. B. Yash B. Konika B. Aryan B. Manoj B. Okay. See, I'm so happy looking at your answers. Such a good day today it is. Conclusion question. Gender analysis is essential in employment trend studies. Last passage talking about this. Even the whole article is talking about that if you do not look into this essential component, you can never have a good picture. I will take this as my direct answer, but because I'm skeptical, आपकी तरह मुझको भी भरोसा नहीं है, I will eliminate it. Okay. Short-term trends alone are sufficient, contradictory to the passage. Employment trends show positive economic growth, not in the passage. Seasonal variations, not in the passage. P. Now I am confident, right? Moving on. Next. Class कब तक चलेगी? Few more minutes or one more passage? One more passage, okay? We'll do. Trust issues, ma'am. This is what I am saying. This is what I am saying. You don't trust yourself, but you trust others. Aryan, direct cite करा तो क्या हो गया? Conclusions can be in the passage. Such a good thing to see all the answers coming from you people. You are saying C. What does the earning data suggest about Lakpati Didi's initiative? The goal faces significant challenges due to low earnings. First paragraph, last line. Right? Direct answer. But I don't trust myself. I'll look into the options again. Initiative is progressing well. They are earning less than 1 lakh rupees. So it's not progressing well. Rural areas are close to achieving the target. Not in the passage. Contradictory to passage. I'll remove it. Women entrepreneurs are achieving the target income. No. Best thing about such questions is, Nirmit, you are saying B. Close to achieving, they're not earning 1 lakh rupees. How they're close to their goal? C. Okay. Good going up till now. Of course, they are good going. You are giving right answers. You should be happy and appreciative of yourself, right? Be confident that you are doing well. समझ में आ गया? Right? चले आगे. Next passage. एक test देते, right? Of course, CR is not that much boring. We can have some fun in it. You can give a test and you can read the passage. Of course, all our fun is related to the passage. Appreciation, because passages are not easy, Santosh. You have trust issues. When you are able to solve the questions, you call the passage easy. When you're not able to solve the question, you call the passage difficult. There is no such thing as this. There is no such thing as this. There is only comprehension. You may be slow in understanding economics, or you are slow in understanding science. That's fine. But there is no such thing as easy passages, right? Not all can go right, right? अगर सब कर पा रहे हैं, इसका मतलब you are also doing good. Trust yourself. Read the passage. Come on. This is Harshita what I'm saying. Correct question? Passage easy. Why have you trust issues? One second I'll give you. Okay, take 1 minute and read it. Done? This is the best time I can give you, because we are in a competitive exam. Competitive spirit is very important, right? Read it fast. Done? Good, Nargis. I hope you have read the passage directly. The road forks a bit more between when we are nearing the end. This is for all of us. When we are nearing our end, we underestimate ourselves, taking leaps based on estimation of our capabilities which may be off or on the mark. The need to prove ourselves varies in intensity and depends on personal capability and freedom to choose our paths. Okay? As humans, we often err. Making an error? When it comes to making an honest assessment of our capabilities, getting my answer, Manoj, that we are not sure of our own capabilities. We tend, of course, Alok, this represents you. You means you students, you don't trust yourselves. We tend to either underestimate or overestimate our ability to achieve, right? The path to move ourselves can end up being disappointing in both cases. In the first instance, we are bored by achieving too when we underestimate ourselves too easily. In the second, we are left frustrated by not even coming close to our aspirations. Such a good article, right? Now, don't put your feelings over here. Stay in the passage, okay? Choosing an easy path despite high ability will lead to boredom and lingering remorse over a wasted opportunity. One opinion. Next, choosing difficult path but not having the ability to follow it causes disappointment, okay? Those of us who most accurately map our capabilities with the path we choose to prove ourselves achieve the most enduring match. Figure yourself out. You are good enough for all kinds of passages and questions. Founders choose the most difficult part to prove themselves and are able to match this choice with their ability. Founders of startups or companies, something like that, right? But focus on your capabilities and pick the correct task, pick the correct path, and you will have an enduring match. Okay? Manoj and Munu and don't do that, right? Focus on the passage. We are preparing for an exam, right? Let's do the questions then. First, come on, put your answers in the chat box. Yes, Santosh, correct conclusion. Correct or somewhat you missed the point. Ma'am, don't forget to water break. That's fine, Khushi. Thanks for asking. Jeevan C. Okay. Reading the question correct? Aditya B, Anjali C, Rishabh A, Manoj C. Read the question. Read the question. You have to weaken the author's argument. What the author has said? Match your capabilities with your path. If you are taking C, people who choose difficult paths often succeed regardless of the initial capability assessment. Directly weakens author's argument. Such a good question and such a good way of coming directly to the question's answer. If you choose a difficult path and you succeed, you weaken the author's argument, which is what? Pick your capabilities and pick your path, and then you have enduring match. We have directly done what? We have weakened the author's argument, right? Those are talking about A. Many successful founders initially underestimated their capabilities but still achieved great success. This is weakening which argument? You tell me. You are simply weakening the last line of the passage. That is why this is not a good answer. Do not pick the, see, there is one more problem. What you do is the last line stays with you. Santosh, yes, C is weakening the conclusion also, that if you are choosing difficult paths, still succeeding, you are doing a very good job. Namisha, focus on the argument. It is what? Focus on your capabilities and choose your path. And then you will have a good match. And if I say I've chosen a difficult path, right, and still have succeeded, right, I'll have my, see, in the passage it is written that if you take a difficult path, you will be not able to achieve the goal. Accurately assess the capabilities and achieve. This is strengthening. Who is talking about B? Moderate success. Still they found success, right? This is not a good argument for your weakening, right? Some people who overestimate their ability still manage to achieve their aspirations. Author has specially written underestimate and overestimate part. You have to focus, target on the article balancing part, that your abilities and your path should match. C is our answer. Next. Yes, Harshita. Aryan, is that an answer? No, I don't think so. Focus on the question and give an answer. Author is most likely to agree. Jeevan A. Easy answer. We don't have to even waste a second. Author has to agree and not us. It should be from the passage. Most satisfying achievements come from perfectly matched capabilities and challenges. It's in the passage. Yes, Anushka, yes. Overestimating capabilities is better than underestimating. They are not discussing which one is better. No answer for that. Young people should, there's no discussion what young people especially should do. Moderate achievements through, not discussed in the passage. All three are not discussed. Author will not agree with all three. A is a direct answer. Conclusion. Harshita, A is correct. I'm reading your answer and not giving the answer, okay? A. Yash is saying B, Bhushan B, Fiza B, Anjali B. Do you want to read the question again? Read the question again. It's a conclusion about early career choices can be drawn from the passage. First line of the passage said something. Let's discuss the answer. Young people face more decision points due to having more options available. This is from the first line of the passage. And I'll tell you, I'll give one more before we end this class. One more point is also there, that conclusion or the main idea of the passage can be same and can be introduced in the starting of the passage. There you missed the point, that conclusion about early career choices was discussed in the first line of the passage. More choices early in life lead to better, not discussed in the passage. So you can't get a support for option B from the passage. Yes, B is not in the passage. Early career decisions are more important than later life, not discussed, right? Young people should always choose conservative. These are options which you like or you have read somewhere, but not an answer to the question, right? A is directly from the passage, coming from the first line of the passage. And now, I hope the concepts are clear to you, and from my list, 2 questions are remaining. And for that, what you will do is, you'll answer the next 2 questions in the comment box below, right? You'll not end the video, you will do the next 2 questions in the comment section, okay? That way I won't be tired, that way you won't be tired, okay? This 19, once more, but allo question. These 2 questions you'll put in the comment box and I'll check the answers, okay? And then I'll put the answers in the comment box, okay? We'll do that, okay? You'll look into the questions, you will try and solve it, and you will put it in the comment box. I'll give you the answer tomorrow. How about that? Okay, you take your time, read the passage again, and then you can solve the questions. Okay, Ayush, Kajal, Krishna, good that you're answering the question, but you can take your time, you can take a break for those questions as well, right? I hope the concepts are revised and they're in your mind and not in your papers. Pages don't work in the exam, only the mind works. All my best wishes are with you, right? Take time, take some break, right? Focus on show 20. This is the 21. Focus on what you are preparing. Do not look into the competition obsessively. Simply look into your preparation. Prepare well for 1st of December. All my good wishes are with you. See you next time. Okay. Thanks a lot.